And what we can do now is to present to you our conference next year, and we hope that everything goes according to plan, and that we can actually, all of us, go to the Netherlands, to Utrecht. And we have here Widget from Utrecht, and also Flo. I don't know if you could actually switch on your camera and also your micro. Do you actually have a presentation, or shall I just leave you to talk?
We have a presentation. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Who is going to put the presentation up?
I will put
you
the
will.
presentation.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you the rights of host, so you can actually do that. Okay?
I think I already have it, and I see that I have the opportunity.
Can you try? If you can try, then I switch my camera off only.
But maybe before we start with that, I'd like to introduce ourselves to you, and thank you very much for the opportunity. Although it is a bit of a sad situation, looking at the last, hearing the last announcement you made, Carmen. And then we were really looking forward also to meeting you all first in Budapest before we have our own conference in Utrecht in the spring of 2021. My name is Wieger Bakker, and I will introduce myself in a minute. But the most important one for this conference, as she is also the contact for the organization and for the coming year, is Floor Hofhuis. So I want to give Floor first the opportunity to introduce herself to you. Floor.
Well, thank you, Wieger. Thank you. Well, I'm Floor Hofhuis. Some of you might already know me. I've been with UPCEA or around in UPCEA for the past 2 or 3 years now. I'm a project leader at the University of Utrecht at the innovation program Lifelong Learning. I work closely together with Wieger to get lifelong learning integrated and embedded into Utrecht University.
Thank you very much, Floor. Yeah, I'm the new kid on the block when it comes to UPCEA. I am a professor at the Faculty of Law, Economics and Governance. And since the end of 2018, I'm also Dean for Lifelong Learning for the university as a whole in Utrecht. And I am personally involved in all kinds of, you could say, education for professionals, continuing education, already since the last 20 years. So it's a pleasure for me to be able to devote more of my time in this important field. And we are even more pleased that we are also allowed to organize the next conference in 2021 for UPCEA. What I will try to do is to share with you the screen, and I hope, Carmen, that you will inform me when something is going wrong technically. At the end, there is a challenge, and we want to show you a little bit about Utrecht, and I hope that it will work. We take roughly 5 to 10 minutes of your time to tell you what we are planning to do in the coming year. Oh, I think that I need Carmen's.
Yes, I'll give you now.
Yes. Yeah, but it says on my screen, host disabled participant screen sharing.
No, because it's a setting. It's a setting, but now you have it.
Now I have it. Perfect. I think that I can share it. Floor, do you see a screen? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Well, we made a draft of the program in close cooperation with Karma and Eva Sendon and Timo Haltunen, and in our discussions over the last few months, we were looking at you could say an overarching theme for the conference of next year that we found in a theme that I think you have been discussing also this last afternoon, and that is how can university continuing education have an impact in a changing world, and that's why the title of the conference is Learning for Impact in a Changing World. Now, what is the idea behind it? As you can see, the theme Learning for Impact in a Changing World has the idea to highlight the role of continuing education in universities to enable professionals to perform in the dynamic social context that they're in. At the one hand, we see that professionals have to develop and to adapt their expertise to keep maintaining societal impact. And on the other hand, we as universities have to empower professionals, and we need to be responsive to the evolving needs of lifelong learners. And that's something that, that we want to address from different perspectives in this conference coming year. And you see that reflected also in the three streams that we formulated. And the first stream is focusing, you could say, on this macro level of the impact of societal change on professionals, professional practices, and the demand that they face. How resilient are they? How can knowledge be circulated to be for the benefit of these organizations? And what does that imply for universities? That's the first stream, the impact of societal change on university continuing education. The second stream is focusing more, you could say, on the direct practices of continuing education, and that's the future of education and modern workplace learning. Then we see more and more that there is a differentiation of ways in which we learn, not always in the classroom, but also outside the classroom, and that also is relevant for continuing education. For instance, when we look at the teaching of the development of secondary school teachers during their professional life, we see that they develop that also with support from universities while teaching in their own classes. Not always come back to university for that, they work together with university. So these kind of different forms, how do professionals learn? How do they adapt to different circumstances? How can we also find a kind of an evidence-based for our continuing education in that respect? That are elements that can be put in the second stream. And the third stream, that's a stream that we all five found quite challenging, and that is how can we embed university continuing education as a professional practice in our universities? That what we see in different universities in several countries, in that it still is a bit apart from other types of our primary process, like research and you could say the initial education for students that come directly from secondary school. That implies that we also as universities have to adapt to different business processes. We cannot do everything the same as we do for other teaching. It has consequences for our governance and for our finances, for our quality control. So we want to explicitly also pay attention to that aspect in the third stream. Now, that has a kind of a consequence for, you could say, the purpose of this conference and the participants that we would like to welcome in Utrecht next year. We are very much aware that it is about learning and what we do in learning as universities, but also about the learners themselves, the professionals. And that's why we want to connect different worlds, both the world of research on learning with practitioners in learning. We want to connect the academic domain with professions and other stakeholders like businesses. We want to discuss also how to align university facilities with the needs that university continuing education has, and which is sometimes different from the rest of the primary process at our universities. And for that reason, we equally address not only us who are working in continuing education, but also researchers and administrators, professionals from outside university and their organizations, as well as policymakers. And we see that also reflected in the type of contributions that we hope to have in our conference in next year. First of all, of course, it is a scientific conference, and we want to have a series of sessions on research papers. And research and adding to the evidence based on continuing education is very important. So therefore, both conceptual and empirical work on the topic of the conference is very much welcome. But next to that, we also want to experience new innovative forms of continuing education. Therefore, we also want to have testing ground laboratories, so spaces during the conference where you can find and experience new forms of continuing education that we also, of course, want to report on after the conference. And the third type of activity is that we also want to have specific sessions on these organizational administrative innovations to embed and further develop and professionalize university continuing education. Apart from these, you could say, sessions that more or less are scheduled, we also want to have some sessions and meetings between scientists, practitioners, professionals, policymakers, and whatsoever, everyone who is interested in this field. That's the idea behind the conference. The idea is that we are at the moment working together at the call for the different contributions, and that call that will be published at the 1st of September, and will contain all the necessary information for the different contributions and then how it will be assessed, and will stay open until the end of January 2021. In a relatively short time, we will review all the abstracts and communicate the outcome before March 15, and the full papers have to be submitted by April 30. So that's, you could say, the timeline for the organization of the conference, and our contact is Floor, as I said, and you see also here the email address that we will use for the conference, and that is open from now as we speak. So you can immediately, also after this meeting, you can mail us for further information. Now, to end, and this is the tricky point, is that we would like to show you how our university looks like. We intended to make a short movie especially focused at continuing education in Utrecht. We already had the appointment for making that movie, but unfortunately, due to COVID-19, we had to postpone that till hopefully during the summer, so that it will be ready in September. But now, if everything works out, we want to show you a similar kind of movie that at least gives an image of Utrecht University, and that was developed for our master programs. And I hope that it will start. So thank you very much. Karma, you can take over again.
Okay, so I think that you need to pass me the the host rights. I don't know if you know how to do that.
Where can I do that? And I lost
Yes,
control.
you need to find an icon which says participants and click there, and then you will find me as panelist. And then when you put the mouse on top of my name, there is an icon which says more.
Yes, I see only a large Zoom screen and your face and Floor and myself, but that's roughly all I can see.
Oh, just let me see if I, okay, request remote control, request.
Onder in de balkwieger.
Yeah.
If not, it doesn't matter, because now the seminar has finished.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you can switch off your video and your micro. And I just 1 minute, I close. Okay. So, okay. No. Oh, wonderful. So that's all. Thank you very much for joining us today. I really hope you found the seminar interesting and useful and different. It's been the first big seminar that UCAN has done online, so it's been really a test. I hope that technologically speaking it's been fine for you, that you have had no problems. And I hope to see you soon. I hope to see you, definitely, I hope to see you in Utrecht next year. But because we have cancelled the conference in Budapest in November, I'm just telling you now in advance that the month of November, we will have some surprises for our members, definitely, and for whoever wants to join us. We will do some things online for you. And we hope that we can see each other very soon and share our experiences. So thank you and bye-bye.